Okay.
Okay, so tonight we are talking fundraising because I have had a few people asking to cover this topic, but it's not one of my strong points. So Allison said, "Hey, I love
Sure.
fundraising. I'll do this. I can
That's good.
talk this up." So Allison, I'm going to let you take it away.
Okay, right on. So don't mind me. I did prepare a bunch of notes because I really didn't want to miss anything. So, and I do recommend you guys, if you have pen and paper, to take notes, or again, she's going to record this. You guys can watch it again and take notes, because I'm going to really break down the who, what, where, when, and why of fundraising, as far as what I recommend, what works. And again, like any kind of training, you will pick little wonderful things you love about it, and there'll be things that you'll be like, nah, that's not my, that's not something I would like. And that's, in any training, I always say that, there's never any black or white, a certain right way to do something. There's many ways to do things, right? So, okay, so first off, I'm going to talk about why fundraising is so amazing if you're a brand new consultant, or you're sitting there going, I really need to broaden my customer base. Okay. So, and especially when it comes to right now with the incentive that we're doing, and you have to have so much PRV. So I'm going to get the money quickly out of the way with fundraising. So when it comes to fundraising, they do make our commission. The commission, usually it's 20%. That's pretty normal, that you offer whoever you're doing the fundraising for, your 20% commission. So you keep 5%. If the fundraiser does really well, over 2,000, then you have 30%, you'll have 10% to play with. And you do use that for some of the fundraising. Okay. So things you cannot do as far as compliance goes, you cannot charge extra for a product, or do a buy 5, get 1 free, but keep some product. Like you can't change, of course, how much Scentsy charges for things, or you cannot charge extra. You cannot, to make it work as far as money to go to the charity. That is all OOC. So how it usually works is 20%. So we'll get that out of the way right away, in case anyone was wondering how that goes with fundraising. Okay. And I do have a list of sort of things that are like out of compliance that Scentsy wants to make sure that you're aware of. And I'm going to cover that with you guys. So the first thing when it comes to fundraising, the reason why it is so great for brand new reps and for people who are trying to broaden their customer base is because it's going to get you your name out there to a whole bunch of new individuals that you otherwise didn't know. Okay. And a lot of it, actually, you don't have to do the work. That's the best part of fundraising, is you're going to have your foot soldiers that are going to go out there and do all the actual selling. Okay. And then that's going to be how you find all these new customers. Because once they are introduced to Scentsy and they buy the products, they are going to come back to purchase again and again. And you are the rep that is going to have your name on everything that they purchase. Okay. So building customer base, it's a great free advertising, gets your name out there in the community. Obviously, with Scentsy, a big thing with our mission statement, and that is having a service heart and to, give back. And so how better to give back than to raise money for different charities through our business. Okay. So super important with that. Now, so the first thing I'm going to go over with you guys is finding fundraisers. So things I have done in the past is call schools, ask who's in charge of fundraising, who's in charge of the parent-teacher council. Schools are a huge one. If you can nail a fundraiser once a year at your local school, it's going to be good, because if you can get how many classrooms of students that are going to go out there and do that fundraiser. So that's one of the best ones I always recommend, is through the schools. And the schools usually have way more leeway as far as their fundraisers go, compared to maybe some big places like the ASPCA or Humane Society in Canada. Some of those places are very structured on what they can have for fundraising and who can do it. Some still will take things for fundraising, but some of the bigger agencies. So schools, sports teams, and sports associations. My dog's having a nightmare here. Coaches, dance, gymnastics teams, church fundraisers, nonprofit organizations, hospital, almost home. I'm sure you guys have seen all those buddy drives that people do for hospitals. So what else? Yeah, big organizations, you just have to really check with their rules about, what they're allowed, but always good to still ask. Okay. Something I always do as well is, let's say I see a bake sale or a car wash. I will go and stop and ask what first off, what the money is going to, what charity or, organization the money's going to, and who is running it, and get the name of that person. And then you can reach out and make contact and find out, especially with sports teams, there's always money that they're trying to get for their travel and lodging and their uniforms. Same thing with cheerleading and gymnastics and dance. They're looking for money for like costumes and that. So these are all great fundraisers that you can reach out. And again, if they go really well, it can be an every year thing that you're prepared and that they're going to reach out to you. Okay. So bake sales, car washes, places like that. I always try to find out who's raising money for what and who's running it and get their name. Okay. Now here's something super important to keep in mind to have a successful fundraiser. One, you need an organization that's going to agree to do it, but you need one that's going to have your foot soldiers. Okay. You are not going to want to reach out to your customers and hit them up to try to buy for this, because those customers are your customers you already have. And so when you're looking for an organization, you want to make it very clear to them, somebody's going to have to be the one doing all the selling. Okay. And so, and selling doesn't always have to be a door to door or go out. It can also be an event that maybe they have where they're going to sell. Okay. But definitely you don't want to be, one, you're not going to be the one selling everything for this. And two, you're not going to want to bug your own personal customers you've already built a rapport with, unless somehow they are in your community and have something to do with this organization. Okay. So again, I always say, make it extremely clear that the organization needs to have people to do the selling to make this go well, or hold an event. Foot soldiers, like when we talk about that, it's, their kids or the school, you'll have like a classroom of children that are going to go out and do this. And I'm going to explain how this all works and what you give them and everything like that. Because again, you want enough people that are selling to be able to make a nice chunk of money that'll go towards their cause. Okay. So, and when we talk like foot soldiers, like when we talk about kids in a class that do that, I'm not saying they have to go door to door. Like, that's not what I'm saying. Like, they'll go and sell to, grandma and Aunt Sue and the neighbors and, parents, close friends, things like that. You want to make it very easy, okay, for them to sell your products. What I always make sure to do is you're going to incentivize it. And so incentivize your foot soldiers. So sometimes these kids, they might be like, I don't care if the school makes money, but if they think they're getting something out of it, like here in Canada, the kids would always get, when they were little, this, it was like called Jump for Heart and Stroke Foundation, where they would go get all these pledges to go work an event. And my kids would go crazy to collect the money because they could win prizes. And so that really was like, they were, they had an incentive to do it. It wasn't that they were raising the money, but so that's a big thing. Okay. Not everyone will be passionate about the cause, but if there's something in it for them, and you want to make it fun, okay, for them to sell the products. Same thing with, you want to incentivize the customer as well. So the customer service needs to start even before you meet them, okay, or they order. So, and I'm going to explain that to you a little later in the training. So a couple things I want to go through right now is making sure your fundraiser is Scentsy compliant. So you want to always make sure that you obtain approval from the individual or entity on which you're raising funds. Like you've come into an agreement with them and they're aware that this is all happening on the up and up. Do not have a fundraiser for a national tragedy. So that's actually against compliance. An event covered by any national news, we are not allowed to actually go in and do fundraising for, which that was news to me. I didn't know that until I saw that in the compliance when I looked it up the other day. Follow through on promises and agreements. So if you agree to do certain prizes for top sellers and things like that, then you're going to follow through and make sure that everything that you agreed upon in this fundraiser, you follow through on. be able to provide documentation to Scentsy upon request showing the fundraising terms, agreements, how much the commission. They could ask for it. Only collect funds through products purchased. You are not allowed to collect any kind of donations unless you are already authorized by Scentsy and head office. I guess they will approve it for certain things, but it's very specific. Okay. So limit the content of your fundraiser ad to only the entity for which you are raising funds for, information about the purpose of the fundraiser, details regarding how to participate in the fundraiser, and the percentage of commission that'll be donated. That's all that can really be in the information. Okay. So paperwork. Okay. So a couple things I wanted to go over within the paperwork, things that maybe you guys weren't aware that we have in the Scentsy. Some of it's from the consultant store, some of it's just online. So there is an actual letter that Heidi and Orville have signed that you can print offline, that is from in the workstation, that says, "Dear fundraising coordinator, thank you for your interest in a Scentsy fundraiser. Here at Scentsy, we know how important it is to give to our community. In fact, generosity is one of our Scentsy core values. Whether your goal is to build a playground, fund a trip for the school band, or improve the community's soccer field, a Scentsy fundraiser is a perfect way to show generosity and support for a local school or organization." And it goes on to talk about the products and the potential, but it's signed by the owners. And I think this just really makes it really professional when you are going in and requesting to do a fundraiser. And that's the whole thing. We want to keep everything looking very professional. And so that's one tool. You can use this when requesting to do a fundraiser. Another thing that I think is super important, and again, there's mixed emotions on this. A lot of people can use plain old manila envelopes to do up their packages that they're going to give to all their foot soldiers to go out and sell. But I truly believe that, and again, I'm sorry I didn't have one. I looked and I thought I had some, but I didn't. So I printed a picture of it. But this is our fundraising envelopes, okay? And they look all really nice and they're decorated and they look super professional. And that is what you order from the Scentsy consultant store, okay? I believe they're like $11 for a pack of 25, that's Canadian. But it really keeps things super professional on orders placed, how they paid, the information of the person collecting the orders, your information as the consultant. And I think when you have somebody coming to someone's door selling, I think it's super important to keep everything looking really professional. So again, I'm not saying people don't use manila envelopes, and you could, depending on what the fundraiser is, but I really like these because they look so put together already. Okay, so these are the fundraising envelopes. And the one last thing I wanted to show you guys quick before I talk paperwork is there's lots of these you can find, and these are fundraising forms that you can put the person's information, and then if they ordered something. Now this is very specific to a one product fundraiser, and I'm going to talk about that with you guys. So a one product fundraiser is, you know, you're going to pick one product that everyone's going to sell instead of a whole catalog. And I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of that. And again, there's no right or wrong. Some people have very successful buddy clip fundraisers or scent circle fundraisers. So let's go, we're going to talk paperwork now. So, what I'm talking to you guys about is putting together your fundraiser packets. And these are what is going to go out to all the foot soldiers or people that are going to be doing the selling for the fundraiser. So I always have one of these fundraiser packets. Okay. And then with that, I usually have, just give me a sec here. I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. Okay, so oh shoot, and I forgot to grab one. So I always have a showcase brochure. Okay, so the reason I like the showcase brochures is we're keeping it simple. So the showcase brochure, you open it up, it's very specific. It's got everything listed in there, but without too much choice. Okay, because when someone is going up to sell, a big catalog is a lot. to look through, where if you just have them having the showcase brochure, it's very clear, it's simple, they can choose what they want out of it. This is if you're doing a whole catalog fundraiser. And I particularly love a full catalog fundraiser. And the reason why is because then there's so many price levels to choose from, and that the charity is going to end up making a lot more money. I have done Scent Circle fundraisers where you sell a bundle. So people pick the buy 5, get 1 free. So 6 for the $20. But even if you sell $500 worth, which is quite a bit, the fundraiser only makes like $120. It's not very much. And that's why I personally like a full catalog, because you could have one customer order $100 worth. Okay, so you're going to sell way more. But again, I'm not saying, I have done, I had one family, we did a fundraiser and buddy clips, and it was great because the kids were little. And so the buddy clips were a great seller and we sold them. I think you really have to decide who your target audience is. Okay, so so you're going to have the showcase brochure. Okay, you're going to have your fundraising envelope. You're going to have a couple other sheets that I'm going to go over that I make up that go in there. So let me just make sure I'm in here. Price point. Yeah. So I just wanted to talk about having a full catalog fundraiser. I just feel like you can sell so much more. But you're not going to go door to door with someone and on the spot, they're going to pick something out of, the showcase brochure, you know. So again, it just depends on your target audience. Okay, so yeah, so let's talk about knowing your audience. So again, as I said, let's say you're going to do kindergarten families for the school and somebody was doing a fundraiser. Well, then buddy clips are great, because again, know your audience. If you have a sports team and they didn't want to do the whole catalog, then something like scent packs that are great in, you know, their gym bags and hockey bags and things like that. Well, then that would be a great fundraiser. But again, it's knowing your audience and deciding if you want to do one product or if you don't want to limit yourself and you want to do the whole catalog. Okay. And again, remember that even though you're not making huge commission on these, besides all of a sudden meeting all these new customers and, meeting all these new customers, you're also getting your PRV. So think about annual sales award when you're trying to sell so much in a year, and how much these fundraisers would help with that. I'm just going to plug my phone in because of course it's going to die here. Sorry. Okay. I apologize. I was hoping it wouldn't, but I'm getting there. Okay. So, so that's another thing is really thinking about your overall PRV if you had so many fundraisers a year that you are going to run. Okay. So showcase brochure, another thing that's great about those, no combine and save. Molly, you can still see me okay? I had to turn my phone sideways to plug it in. It's fine. Okay. So with the showcase brochure, there's no bundle and save option. So that's another great thing, because then, you know, they're picking out of there, but there's not going to be any discount on the products, which also helps because we're looking at a total gross income of what everybody sells that they're going to make their 20% off of. Okay. So preparation of packets. So you take your fundraiser packet, you're going to add your showcase brochure, and then I print off usually another sheet for the Scentsy buddies. Now I will print it with what Scentsy buddies are available, but I will also write these Scentsy buddies are limited time, you know, buddies that they can sell out at any time. Please put your first and second choice in case the buddy you have selected sells out before the fundraiser is closed. So I do put that usually on the form, and I stick that in the showcase brochure in where the buddy clips, and that is. Other things I'll do with the showcase brochure is I will put scented stickers in there if I have them to help. All right. Another thing you can do is order the diffuser brochures from the Scentsy store, and you can put that inside your packets that talk about the, again, these things all cost money. So don't feel obligated, but I do think that it is handy, if you can, to add those in there. Create your own order form cheat sheet. So I will go and get an order form. And I usually, again, I didn't have it ready for this, but I will photocopy it onto a piece of paper, and I will draw little lines and put where to fill everything out. It's just a cheat sheet on how to fill out the order form. And I put that also in the packet. Okay. And then the last thing I put in the packet is called the fundraiser cheat sheet. Okay. And it is what sort of talks them through how to, fill out the forms and take the orders. Okay. So, and I usually put 8 to 10 order forms in each packet. Now, I have tried in the past to do photocopies of order forms, but you know what? By the time you get the photocopied order form, and then you photocopy them again, so the customer gets a copy, and the ink, you're better to just use the Scentsy order forms, honestly, for the price. You're going to end up spending more otherwise. So I put about 8 to 10 in every packet. Okay. So what else? Let me see here. So incentive for sellers and buyers. Make sure sellers fill out their name at the top of the order form. The seller might not care about, the cause, but if they know that if they might get top 3 in sales and they're going to get a prize. So they put their information on the top. And so I always do this sheet, and it says, Scentsy must read helpful information for your fundraiser, cheat sheet for fundraiser. Okay. In there, I put how to, come up with the amount, because they are charging the customer the amount. So I'll put the base amount. Now, here's a tricky one: shipping charges. So things have changed over the years. We've had where we had free shipping, and then, free shipping on $265, which most fundraisers, you're going to get over that. Well, now it's $665 in Canada. So you have to look at the fundraiser and go, is it a big enough fundraiser that you're going to pull in over $665? Then you go free shipping. If it's a little fundraiser you're doing, then you're going to charge everyone their 10% shipping. And that's a really personal choice that you have to figure out and make prior to. Shipping will vary in the USA. So it's tricky for us here, because it's pretty much, unless you're going to sell the $665. So I usually just get them to do the 10% shipping, which, I'll be honest, I always buy the cheese sales for the school and all the other things, and I get charged shipping. So people are used to it. It's not really that big of a deal. So on their cheat sheet, I put the base price plus 10%, and then my provincial sales tax. Checks are made out to, and my name. Monies are due at time of order. No combine and save on orders. Online party link to shop online is also listed there. Your orders will arrive 3 weeks after fundraiser has ended. Okay, because that gives you time to collect all the orders, submit the orders, and 3 weeks for the return and get everything packed up. This is all going to be written, and I can actually do up a sheet for tomorrow and add it into the comments of what it looks like with all this stuff on it. Turn monies and orders into teacher/organizer by, and then the end date. Please return packets even if you do not collect any orders. I always put that because these are expensive by the time you put your packet together with everything in it. And so if they're just going to throw them out, I'd rather them returned. So I write that on there as well. We encourage you to even collect just one order to go towards the fundraiser. So that's pretty much what I put on there. Your organization will receive monies on or after the 15th of the following month fundraiser closes. So that's super important. So that gives you time to get paid your commission. So you're not going to give the 20% out of your pocket. You're going to make sure they're aware that it's the month after the fundraiser closes. When you get paid by Scentsy, you will then take that 20% and turn it back to the organization. And then you'll have your 5 or 10% to put towards the incentive prizes. And also, because there is no host, there will be host rewards and product credit, and that will go back into the prizes as well. Okay. So let me see here. There will also be some awesome prizes for top 3 sellers based on total sales. Also, every customer, which is also every salesperson, which is fully filled out properly, the forms will be entered into a draw. I usually put that so that they're filled out properly, or you'll get a bunch back that are not filled out. Also, random drawing for all customers that order. Okay. And that's where you're incentivizing the customer because they get entered into a draw. There's the top 3 sellers, working for the charity. And then also there's a random draw for everyone that's filled out the forms properly. So then let foot soldiers know to tell customers, that there will be entered into a draw. I have also, for school fundraisers, offered the class that sells the most, a pizza party, or I've bought a couple pizzas. Sometimes I have paid for that out of my pocket. I'm not saying you have to do that. I found it really just got the classes to hustle to sell because they wanted that pizza party, let me tell you. So you'd be surprised how great that can pull sales. I mean, you could have sales $6,000-$9,000 if you have a school doing a fundraiser. You'd be surprised how quick it adds up. Okay, so I have done Visa gift cards for top sellers because, especially if they're not kids, but older kids, or I've done like gift cards for fast food and that, only because some of them are kids. So Scentsy is a tough one. Like adults are one thing. Again, any of these things I tell you, it depends on who you've got selling. Are they, church parishioners, or are these kids from a school? Then there's a difference, right? But I have done Visa cards, and I've done them as low as like $5, depending on how much you raise. If it ends up being really little, then they're just little gift cards. If it ends up being really, they've raised a lot of money and I've got quite a bit that comes in on my 5%, then I've done bigger gift cards. And again, these are all things that you can figure out, but I think it is good to always have an incentive for everyone selling. So another thing, if customers want to shop online, that's fine. You're going to put the link on the form for them. But make sure that the foot soldiers that are out selling, if the order comes in online from them, you want to make sure they fill it out on their fundraiser form that it did come in so that they get credit for it. Okay. So, what else? Prizes. Oh, so another thing I always put on the cheat sheet, prizes will be delivered at the same time as the customer's orders are delivered. Okay. Then I do prizes at the same time because I've already received everything. And a lot of time, some of the prizes are you buy them with your product credit and half offs. Okay. Then I also put call or email me at any time with any questions. I'm here to make sure your fundraiser is successful, to make as much money for your organization as possible. Get out there and sell, share, sell. Okay. And then my contact information. So that's pretty much the gist of it. Now, benefits of fundraisers that outweigh not making commission. So again, your annual sales, recruiting. So keep in mind, especially if you end up with adults doing this, they're almost like getting to pretend to be a Scentsy rep for a little bit, right? They might get a feel for it. You might get people that end up deciding they want to sell and you recruit them because they got to try it out and they realize, oh my God, if people love these products, they're easy to sell. I could do this, full time. And so recruiting is great through fundraisers. And then of course, all the customers that you're going to end up getting that come back to get more bars after they've bought warmers. And that's why it's super important that when you go to pack up the orders from the fundraiser, you want to make sure that you have a good impression, new customers. You want to make sure you put your contact information in there, business cards in there. Thank you notes are always nice. Another great touch is I will do up postcards, and the postcard will say, thank you so much for your purchase. Together, everyone raised this much money for this organization, because I'll know by then how much was raised. And I will put that on a postcard in with the orders. So, it's one thing they got to purchase something for themselves that they liked, but it went towards a great cause. Okay. Another thing that is great to put in there is the Scentsy join brochures you can throw in there. Scentsy Club information is great to put in there. Let me think if I forgot anything. Oh, samples. Of course, samples are always great, especially if it's something they didn't order a new product that you're introducing them to, some kind of samples, great to put in there. I mean, again, it's like these are new customers that you didn't even go out and find. And so you want to give your best impression because you want them coming back and you being their Scentsy consultant. Okay. So that's pretty much, I think, the gist of everything as far as fundraisers go that I sort of came up with that I could think of to talk about tonight. Do you guys have any questions?
I know there were some in the chat. Let me try to scroll back and see if I
Okay,
can.
because I couldn't see the chat while I was chatting.
That's okay. Totally fine. Let me see if I can scroll back or not. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So for advertising,
Yes.
Carrie asked, what info is allowed in the ad? The purpose, how to participate, money to be donated.
Yeah. So limit the content of your fundraiser ad to only include, and these words came right off Scentsy compliance, the entity for which you are raising funds. So what you're raising funds for, information about the purpose of the fundraiser, details regarding how to participate in the fundraiser, and the percentage of commission that will be donated. That's what is allowed to be on there.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions or things they want to add? I know this is a lot of information. Okay, Julie's raising her
hand. There was a lot, like I had a lot of stuff to cover. So I know I went through it really fast. You probably have to watch it again and take notes and stuff because I had a bunch to cover. And again, I will put together a screen print of what my order form looks like that I use as a cheat sheet with all the notes around it, like how to fill in an order form. And then also my cheat sheet that I always do up for a fundraiser. I will, I just got to find it. I don't know what I did with it, but I will, that or I'll type up another one and I will put them in the comment in the picture so you guys have them. And it just sort of gives information on, so that they, it just gives them information on, what to do or what to expect to make their fundraiser successful. Because a lot of times I give all these packages to the coordinator and then I'm not there to hand them out to every single foot soldier. So that's why you've got to make sure everything is super clear, super easy, super spelled out, because you're not going to be there. They can message you and ask if they have questions, but they're not there when you're not there when they get the packet always. So you want to make everything really clear.
Absolutely. Julie, you want to go ahead with your question? I see you have your hand raised.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. So what is the difference? Like, I know that I've been in Scentsy for quite a while. So I've seen the scent circles and the buddy clip drives, the ones that are specific. Mm-hmm. That always seemed to me, because I didn't have the time at the time to get to understand them. Mm-hmm. Like it was doing the too much money for. Is there a way you can explain that and how is the difference?
Yeah,
possibly.
So for instance, when I have done a scent circle fundraiser, which I did one for a soccer team. I selected, so instead of having every scent circle in the catalog, because then it gets to be like, it can be too much selection for the person selling. So when I did it, I picked all the classics, like the main classics and maybe a couple of my favorites, but I made sure that there was only so much selection and that they had to buy 5, get 1 free, which here it's $20. And so, the kids on the soccer team would go and say, hey, do you want to buy 6 scent circles for $20 and support my soccer team? And they would collect the money. And then with something like this, they would just check which ones they like, what kind they wanted, if they wanted to mix and match them. It does get confusing, but, or you could say you're getting 6 of the same, but it is kind of nice to have like a selection. Plus then they get to try our fragrances, which they might turn around and come back and buy more stuff later. So that's how we've done scent circle ones before, or same thing. If it was a buddy clip fundraiser, you would have the different buddy clips, which we only have so many. So then the customer would write their name, phone number, which buddy clip they want, and that they've paid, and they would pay in cash or, I know a lot of people don't really do checks anymore. We used to, but not so much anymore. But that's sort of how you would do a single product fundraiser. So you would instead of giving them a showcase brochure, you would get a sheet like that and have them ready, that they would go around and collect with one of those sheets. So again, it is a lot easier and simpler. I just find with some of the smaller products, you have to sell a lot to make a good chunk of money. And when it doesn't go so well and they only make a little bit of money, they might be like, oh, we didn't really make that much. They might not want you again next year, right? And so I just find with the full catalogs, if I get an order sheet that somebody's ordered and I can't read it very clearly, then I'll call the person. As long as all their information's up, I'll call the person and be like, I just want to make sure this is exactly what you wanted in the order. Not really a big deal. Is it a lot of stuff you're going to come in and bag up? Yeah. But, what's 8,000? Imagine you sold 8,000 PRV in a month. That sounds pretty good to me, especially when you need 30,000 for your annual sales. So, it can be great. It can be great for your PRV, not to mention, think of $8,000 worth of Scentsy products. How many customers is that? Customers that you otherwise have never met before, didn't know, and they are all going to have your products with your names all over it. It's amazing. And that's why I always say fundraisers are such a great thing as a leader to right away introduce to new consultants. Because my biggest issue with retention of new consultants, once they have their launch party and they do their family and friends, is then what? Then where do I go with this? And especially right now with COVID, it is super tough because everyone's not out and about mingling. Well, maybe some places there are. I'm sure I don't know where you guys all are, but here we're still like pretty locked down. And so I have some girls even out in Nova Scotia, they can't even deliver on a doorstep. They have to order and ship it. You're not even allowed to drop products at a door in Nova Scotia. They have to have them shipped. So everywhere is really different, but I just find, and I also think that as much as COVID has limited some things, organizations always need money, fundraising money. It is super important. A lot of things are run with fundraising money. You'd be surprised. And so what a great way to get products sold. And again, I think if you really get your foot in a couple places that you do a great job at it and they really like you, they'll get you to do it again and again, year after year. So, which is great. Like I have some great fundraisers that I count on. So, and then I have ones I've done just for fun. Again, like you see those buddy drives, it's called Almost Home here, where I did buddies for when the families come and stay and the kids are at the hospital. And then one I did, it was actually a family that their son had a brain tumor and he was going all the way down to, I think it was Chicago or somewhere. It was very special treatment we didn't have in Canada. And it was for all their travel expenses. And he was really little. He was like 3 or 4. He has since passed away, unfortunately. But we did a buddy drive and it was really successful. And all the kids loved the buddy clips. Again, you have to look at your target, audience, and you have to also look at like that fundraiser, raising money for them for travel. It wasn't a huge fundraiser. I wasn't going to sell a ton, but it was an amazing cause. And I knew the family and it was near and dear to my heart. And I would have gave them all my commission and then some, because, there's some you're going to do just because you really are it's something that you're really, that you're really emotional and attached to it. Then there's going to be some fundraisers that maybe you're not, but they're going to be great for your business. So that's fundraisers. Yeah. Fun.
Any other questions that you guys might have? All right. Well, if you think of something afterwards, you can always write it on the post and tag Allison, so that way she can answer any of these questions. But I mean, if you're new to this, it can seem very overwhelming. Mm-hmm. And I promise you have people here that can back you up and help you out with any questions. Mm-hmm. This really did help me when I first started. I did a fundraiser right off the bat, like Allison was saying for a little boy who unfortunately passed away, but I had no money. I was a single mom. I was living paycheck to paycheck, and I still was donating my commission and doing all that. It helped me in the long run because I had so many customers afterwards. So that did boost my business. But B, I cared so much about this family that I was able to donate over $1,000 to them, which, you know, can be
Amazing.
huge, you know,
Yeah,
when you think about it. I
absolutely.
mean, it might not seem like a lot to you. It might not seem a lot in the grand scheme of things, but even $100 or $200 extra is so
Can really
important,
help.
so helpful
Can
for some
really
of these
help some
people
people.
who
Absolutely.
might be feeling like they're drowning in debt. So, I mean, you can look at it as a way to benefit you, but ultimately it's a way for us as Scentsy consultants to give back when we might not have enough to give ourselves. So, but I mean,
Absolutely.
really, it really is a great way to meet new people. It really, really is.
And something I'd like to say for new consultants that are overwhelmed is that's what your sponsor is, to help you. If you're super overwhelmed about, let's say you decide you're going to take on a fundraiser, your sponsor will help you, especially once the orders all come in and you've got to place them. They will help you. I will go and have consultants that I'll go on live and help them enter all the orders, make sure it's all done properly. You don't always have to feel like you have to do these things alone. That's what your team and your upline is for, and definitely will help. No problem. Geez, if I had a bunch on my team excited to do fundraisers, and I'd be like, woohoo, let's go. I'll help you get on that, like, that's great. So don't ever feel like, oh, I don't know if I can do it, because you're not alone. That's why we're all big team, to help each other. So.
Absolutely. I was just going to say, if your sponsor, doesn't, like, for me, I didn't feel comfortable enough talking on this because I don't do enough fundraisers to feel like I have a lot of extra stuff to give. Even though I've done them in the past, I haven't done one in a really long time. Just hasn't worked out. But my tiny town, I was having a hard time getting them, so I gave up on them for a while. But now Allison has kicked my ass into wanting to do this again.
Fundraisers.
So,
yes.
If you feel like you can't go to your sponsor, or if you go to your sponsor and they say they don't really know a lot about it, do not be afraid to message Allison or I. We will help you out as best we can.
Absolutely.
Like I said, there's also Scentsy groups for fundraising as well that you can join. There's so much information out there. And I know a lot of the forms that Allison was talking about are on the workstation.
Online.
So if you just Google fundraising, that's where she got them from, and just printed them out. So they try to make, as always, they try to make everything as simple as possible for us. And then you can build on that once you become more comfortable.
Absolutely.
So, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anybody else before we say goodnight, or anything you want to add, Allison, before we let everyone go?
You're welcome. I had fun. Thank you for having me tonight.
All right. I'm so thankful that you want to talk about this, because I know a lot of people have been asking about it. And unfortunately, a few of them messaged me and they said, oh, I can't be there tonight. And we get it. So people have lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Family first. But I really I think people forget fundraising or don't realize just how much you get back tenfold for doing those fundraisers. Again, in the beginning, I struggled with my business and fundraisers and bazaars and things like that. That's where I found my customer base. That's where I got my name out there. Just like any business, it's free advertising. It takes time to get out in your community and for people to be like, hey, you're the wax lady. Well, no better way than a fundraiser, getting your name out to all these different customers. So
absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. And then you're known as someone who gives back, and
they
will come to you because they know that you care.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yay.
All right. Well, we got done a little early tonight. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. Again, I will post this, and if you have questions that you think of later, come back and tag Allison or I in the comments, and we'll get back to you. I hope you all have a great night, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Not sure what the topic will be yet, but we'll let you know. Good night, everyone.
Thanks.